We're going to look at the death of Mica Miller and the strange announcement of her husband, Pastor John Miller, in this episode from Never a Truer Word, where we look at the words that people choose to use to see if they're telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Mica Miller died very recently, shortly after serving divorce papers, I think, on her husband, Pastor John Paul Miller. Now, Pastor John Paul made an announcement to his congregation about Mica's death, and it is bizarre.
I'm not going to do an altar call today. Instead, I'm going to have you stand up, and I'm going to make an announcement. And after the announcement, I'm going to ask that you leave church quietly and don't talk about the announcement here in the building, please, if you can. So y'all can stand to your feet. Before I make the announcement, I also want to say that my request to you is that you will continue to come to church and serve and give for the next, little bit. 'Cause I don't want to I'm taking a little bit of a break, and I don't want to have to worry about the church. My break may be a few days, a few weeks, I don't know. I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina. And we're going to have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her. And so I'm sure there'll be more details to come, but just keep our family in your prayers. And I'm going to let Pastor Randall, my bishop, he can pray. I'll give him a microphone, he'll pray out. And if you have anything you want to share as well, I appreciate it.
Come on, let's pray.
So many red flags in that statement. It lasts about 1 minute, 20 seconds, and he spends half of it building up to the announcement. The announcement itself is very short, but he takes a long time to get there, and often people will waffle and talk around the houses before saying something they are very sensitive about saying. And I think that's what's happening here, because it's not until he's at least halfway through the announcement that he actually makes the announcement. And what he says when he's not talking about the death of his wife is really revealing. So much of it is telling the congregation what to do. They're going to have to stand up. They are going to not talk about the announcement here in the building. I mean, that is really controlling. So they have to stand up. And by the way, before I make the announcement, he talks about that he wants them to keep going to church and keep serving the church. So he's still not made the announcement. He's telling people what he wants them to do, how he wants them to react. It's very controlling. He really wants to be in charge of the narrative. And once he's made the announcement, he tells them all to pray for him, to pray for his kids, keep his family in the prayers. So he's very, very controlling. He's very, I think, a controlling person, but also he's controlling the reaction to this announcement. Before he mentions the death of his wife, he talks about himself. I'm going to be taking a bit of a break, and I don't have to want to have to worry about the church. So he's self-obsessed as well. His biggest worry, as he lists it here, is not the death of his wife, the effect on her family, his family, or anything like that. No, he may have to worry about the church. So self-obsessed there. And look at the way he announces the death. He says, I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. Yeah. It was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina, and we're going to have a funeral for her next Sunday at 3 p.m. Before he announces that his wife has passed away, he tells us how he found out about it. Now, why is that important for him to say, I got a call late last night? Why is it important for him to tell us how he found out about the death? I find that very interesting. Is he creating distance? Very possibly, because also he tells us that it wasn't close to him that she died. It was up in North Carolina. So as important to him as announcing the fact his wife has passed away is the distance between him, because he got a phone call and it was up in North Carolina, between him and the death. And then he tells us the manner of the death. It was self-induced. And then he says, you all know she wasn't well mentally. So he's convincing us here as to why the death happened. He's controlling the narrative. And y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally. It's not just me, Pastor John Paul, saying that. Everyone knew she wasn't well mentally. So don't question this death. Again, controlling the narrative. And what's missing from that announcement? Any sense of sadness. No sense of sadness at all. And no empathy for anyone involved, not his wife, not the congregation, not her family, apart from himself, and to a tiny part, his children. He is completely and utterly self-obsessed. What I thought was very revealing is he says, and so I'm sure there'd be more details to come. More details to come, not more information, but more details to come. What, based on what you've said, what more is there to say, Pastor John Paul? Really, not more to say, but more details to come. And I think that is leakage, and I think he knows that more is going to come out. In conclusion, he is very controlling as a personality. He's self-obsessed. His announcement is about himself, how he wants people to react, what he wants people to do for him, rather than about the sad death of his wife. It's important for him, for some reason, to show his distance from the death. And it's important for him to lead the narrative around the death, to say how it happened. And also, he knows there are more details to come. What did you spot? Let me know in the comments or on social media. All the links are in the show description. Subscribe if you want more content like this. Share it with anyone you know that's searching for justice for Mica. And if you press the like button, that means it gets to more people as well. So thank you very much for doing that. Go to neveratruerword.com for more. There's podcasts you can contact on social media there, or sign up for the newsletter too. And we'll see you soon for something else from Never a Truer Word.